All right, so I want to walk you through a lesson before one of my students comes in here. I got about 15 minutes before she gets in here. This is her reading lesson. So every lesson is set up the same way. It's just different, different skills that the students are each working on. So this particular reading lesson, I always start with their agenda, what they're going to do, so they know the flow of the lesson, what's coming up, what's expected of them, or what they can expect when the lesson is being taught. I always have the materials there too. Generally, they always bring their materials, but I always have it there as a reminder so that they know that they need it every single time they're with me. The next thing that every lesson contains is a wake up the brain. You know, tutoring is not students' first thing, or they're like, oh, I want to go to tutoring today. So I always have some type of fun activity that we do at the beginning just to get their mind ready and prepared for what we're going to learn. This lesson right here has this wake up the brain. I find the different wake up the brain activities on, sometimes I just Google like a chaotic picture. Sometimes I Google like mazes and I put those in, but I typically find my wake up the brains online. I generally don't create them myself. For this wake up the brain, they basically have 1 minute to locate 2 of the items that are on this slide here. Just get their mind ready to learn. This next one, this student is doing sight words. She is in 1st grade, but her sight words are 3rd grade. So with this next activity, what I would have her do is just read the sight words. And as they come in, she just reads them to me. And then right now I'm just trying to see what level she is. So that's why she has 3rd grade sight words. But yeah, so she'll just read the words to me. And then what we would do, we would take any of the sight words that she may not have known, and we will put them in a sentence here together on the paper. And typically what I have them do is help me spell all of the words, especially the ones that they should be able to spell phonetically. And so I write here, and then that's the student writes on their paper too. And then when they finish, they turn their paper and show it to me so that I can see their writing as well. The next thing the student is working on is phonics words, phonics words, and we're focusing on the long vowel sounds. So what I'll do here on these cards, I will write the word. So let's say that the word was pain. I would write the word pain on the card, and then the student would read the word for me, and then we will focus on those 2 letters in the middle make that long A sound. Next, we go on to fluency. This fluency is straight taken from 2nd grade TCAP. So I didn't make this, I found it, but it's one of the TCAP practice problems. And basically what this activity has to do, if you live here in Tennessee, you know that the 2nd grade TCAP has a student for fluency. They have the students read it, and if the answer is yes, then they check yes and no. So what the student would do, they would read it to me, and on their side, I would turn on the annotate, and so they would read it out loud. Red is a color, that's true. Then the student would select yes. And this is basically just helping them read fluency sentences while answering yes or no questions. For comprehension, I find stories. I typically get my stories for my older grades from ReadWorks. My 2nd grade friends, because I am a 2nd grade teacher, I have tons of materials. So I usually already have stories that I've bought from teacher paid teachers that I put into the slide. This story here though came from ReadWorks, and I basically take the ReadWorks story and I put it in the slide. So this is the story that she's going to be reading to me today. When she finishes it, we're going to go through these questions. Again, these questions come straight from ReadWorks. We go through the questions, we analyze the questions, we say why we pick the answer we pick. Sometimes we may even go back inside of the text in order to prove our answer. It just depends on what skill we're working on that day. So anyway, we would go through the questions. This right here, usually I end with a writing. So what she's going to do, this student here, we're going to do those 6 and 7 here on the slide. We'll read the questions together. We'll answer it. I'll write the answers on my paper here, and then they'll write their answers on their paper. And again, the student will show it to me in the camera. This is an exit ticket. All my lessons always end with an exit ticket. It's a final, this part of the lesson is over. If we're switching to the next subject, which typically is math, this would be like, all right, this is the last thing that we're going to do in reading before we switch to the next activity or the next subject. If a student only comes to me for that one subject, then it lets them know that the lesson has completed. But for this activity, the student already did this top part last week, what they're doing, and they're going to do this bottom part. I didn't make this, I found it. I thought it was a good activity that takes sight words and allows the student to put it in a sentence to fill in the blank to make that sentence make sense. So again, I didn't make this. I did create the slides and add everything to it, but this actual paper here, or this actual activity here, I did not make it myself. And then that is the end of the lesson. So if you have any questions, let me know.